Well, early in the programme, we heard about a meeting focusing on young people's involvement in the Birmingham riots. Well, it's not just police who are studying CCTV and mobile phone pictures from the recent riots.
For scientists and researchers, this is a chance to learn more about the way crowds behave and what can be done to stop something similar happening again. Here's our science correspondent, David Gregory.
For the experts, it's this attack on a sweet shop in Birmingham that most clearly captures the triggers behind the riots, the series of small events that turn a crowd into a mob. Let's go back and look at things from the beginning.
People wandering around, really sort of looking to see what's going to happen. And here's the cluster of people outside Cyber Candy. When one person goes at it, then several others join in, because it's now been established that it's okay to do that because someone is doing it, and no one is stepping in to stop them. People are just watching them do it. They're playing to the group around them to show they are the most extreme rioters, if you like, and that person, by standing out first, is showing themselves to be more worthy of membership of the group.
So this is the key moment for this particular event.
If that had been stopped at that moment, then the rest of it probably wouldn't have happened.
As looters are now going through the courts, we've been asked to obscure their faces so as not to disrupt current court cases. What we are watching here is something very different to, for want of a better word, a traditional riot.
Most riots tend to be in very large numbers and a confrontation typically with the police, and so that there is a very clearly marked line of where this is happening, and that the tactics that the police are quite well honed in those situations. What was happening here was that there were very small pockets of things going on, and maybe a piece of activity would happen, so someone would try to break a window, maybe a group would start running away from a police line or whatever, and that would then peter out, typically as the police arrived. And so it was very fast moving and quite small numbers happening in a large number of places at once.
These people clearly believe that law has broken down, but they quickly calculate their own internal rules.
The shop door had been broken down, then some people may well have gone inside. Others may well have limited themselves to just picking things up off the floor outside. And maybe their interpretation of this is that maybe that wouldn't have been seen as being wrong. It's, of course, illegal, but it is maybe in their minds that wasn't wrong or as wrong as being a part of breaking the door down.
Understanding what happened can help prevent it in the future.
Well, let's go live now to David, who's in the city centre for us now in Birmingham, where there are still some signs of the damage that was caused. So, David, a fascinating report, but isn't it simply the fact that looters are looters?
Well, they certainly are, Suzanne, certainly in the eyes of the law, and I'm sure in the eyes of many of our viewers. But for the researchers, teasing out the different shades of behaviour here will allow them to understand more about it. So what happened with the person who threw that bin through the store, the window of the store there, is very different to the behaviour of other people within the group who weren't prepared to go quite as far. So overall, yes, it's illegal, but if the researchers can understand more about why different people behave like they did, they can do more to prevent it happening in the future.
And what can businesses actually do to help themselves in these circumstances?
Well, to be honest, Suzanne, this was all very new, but it might be as simple as just taking interesting things out of your shop window. And that may not mean plasma TVs and designer goods. It could be, as in the case of that sweet shop, anything brightly coloured, anything that's going to catch the eye of that first trigger person when they walk past with that group of 30 or 40. If you can avoid encouraging them to take notice of your shop, they might pass right on by. In the end, this was a very new form of riotous behaviour. Back to you in the studio.
David, thanks very much indeed for that.